incentive here is to transform an iconic brand and make it a significant digital presence around the world. So at Time Out, the Chief Digital Officer role covers innovation and research, which we think of as like our Horizon 3 type work. It covers user experience and design, product development, the digital technology team, analytics, and we're now starting to get into more specialist areas as well. So we're looking at subject matter experts in our core business areas such as content and monetization being part of that digital team. The biggest challenge we had when we started to embrace digital was actually thinking big enough. So Time Out over 45 years has grown. It's now a global company. We have over 60 different cities in the world in which we operate. And when we started to think digitally, we said, wouldn't it be good if we accelerated that and we added 20 cities in 2 years, which when you look back sounds good. However, when you now look forward in the digital world, that isn't very impressive. So we had to go from going from 60 to 80, we had to say, how do we get from 60 to 800? So how do we really transform the business now that we can embrace digital? Incentive here is to transform an iconic brand and make it a significant digital presence around the world. So digital is actually top of the business agenda, and therefore it's quite easy to say it's exactly what the CEO thinks about when he wakes up in the morning, and also my peers on the executive team. So I feel very lucky that we're all on the same journey when it comes to digital. In 1 year from now, I think our greatest achievement will be to offer a truly personalised experience to the Time Out fan. So today, whilst we have a good history and we have a good foundation, we are still predominantly a broadcast publisher. And over the next year, we'll be adding much more personalisation so that you, the individual, actually are able to get a personal experience back from Time Out. We can get consumers to think of our brand in the same way that they think about their Facebook feed. So we have lots of fans of the brand, and we're trying to convert that into digital communities where they're actually engaging with each other within our world as opposed to on another person's world. So I recognise that's quite a challenge to actually bring that to fruit, but I think that would be great. That will make a big difference. I think when you're looking at startups, I spend a lot of time trying to work out how they fit into our ecosystem. So we operate on 3 horizons when we look at our roadmap. So we have what we're doing now, that's Horizon 1, what we are already planning that we're going to do next, Horizon 2, and then Horizon 3, 12 months plus. There are all the ideas that we could do at this stage. But they're reasonably well formed when you look at that whole. So when you have a new idea coming in from a startup, it needs to be treated in the same way as you treat any idea. You have to look at the portfolio of ideas you've got, put it in and evaluate it against the general kind of direction that you're going in to see whether it's additive or or not really in that mix. We've already gone through a transition where you go from a staff-only solution for content to semi-automated, where you bring in feeds of content and then you start to augment it. But Huge City, what they had created was a way to mine content from Facebook, and they were able to show us, and they created their own visualization user interface on top of that data. So they were mining data and presenting it back, and it showed a volume of data in all of those cities that we were interested in expanding into. And so it gave us a different way of thinking about how you source content into the mix that we already have. So we felt that was a very complementary way of looking at the world, and therefore we felt, acquiring that intellectual property was the right thing for us to do.